Hello and welcome, as it is the end of the 20th day of January 2018. My name is Derek. Welcome, as I am going to talk about 11 different codes, crypto codes. Everything you do is within your own risk, own reward. I looked at a lot of charts today, tried to find things to buy just because I wanted to spend Bitcoin, and there wasn't many things that I was really enthusiastic to buy right now, but two I did. One being UBQ. I got in on this as it was leaving the 18 average, roughly somewhere around here. As it is now continuing to go up, I will be showing both charts on this trading view as well as coinmarketcap.com, because the logarithmic charts at times just don't do justification on this site. Let's show this chart at a more longer term time frame. And I'm going to be using the 3-day chart for this reference. And the movement has had a nice little correctionary move that I like in here. And I see I was leaving this 18 average. If you want to be a little more sure, you can wait for a break somewhere around and towards here. Now this is a log scale chart. Let's take a look to see if this looks a little bit different on the trading or on the CoinMarketCap site. And what we can see on the scaling is that when it came back down to its lows in here, it looks like it can't retrace a lot of its way lower. Yet in here, this low compared to this one is significantly noticeably higher. But what I see, I don't even need a calculator to determine this. This was very close to a 61.8%. Looks maybe about a 61.8% retracement, maybe 55, 58. But here's a 61.8% retracement from this point in here to down here, looking to break this code. So I really do like the prospect of this at least making it to its previous high. Let's move on to the next one that I bought, and that's Komodo. And we'll take a look at it on the 400-minute time frame. And I just bought this one within the last hour and a half, and it's about 9:50 p.m. Eastern time, or 40 p.m. excuse me. And the noticeable thing is a break of this trend line and the 18 average, which is newly rising. It's coming back to it, so it's at an important support level. Within price action, I wouldn't be surprised if there is further downside action, maybe down towards this 18 average of lows, which may coincide on a more shorter term level of resistance. But I do think that this is going to be rolling over, making a pattern of higher highs and higher lows, thus making a move not only to the upper end of this range, but a breakout. And my price target, let me just find my notes. I have it in at 250,000 Satoshi. And we'll take a look at this further on the long-term time frame. And this will be the 2-day chart. And we can see the more longer-term rectangular formation in here. When you're looking for time to get serious, you're looking at as a break above this handle. Furthermore, within the 18 average, if you're looking for just an amazing setup, ideally what you'd want to see is a move up to this previous high that would come back to the newly re-rising 18 average, because it's starting to go a little flat, but rising at a good rate of ascent. Come back to this level, and of course maybe even come back to this key level of resistance in here, and then start to lift off from there. That would be an amazing entry point if this happens. But of course, when cryptos are ready to go, they just go. AKA, oh, look what happened in here. Well, how about in September and then again at the earlier part into June. There has been 3 cases this thing has had great gains, and in each time, superior gains, to say the least. So, okay, so let's move into the other codes that I'm not buying now, but if the price goes lower and I got the buy orders in, I'll be a buyer. This is MaidSafe, and I'm looking at this on a 3-day time frame, where the resistance has been established really well right now in at this level in here. If price action get above here, show any type of bullish setups, pretty similar to the one that I showed before, maybe a move up here that maybe barely breaks the high, comes back and does something like this, then maybe you might want to look towards nice entry points. But I have a buy order much lower. Looking for the price to come down towards the 44. I don't know why it does this at times, but 4,400 level. And let's move on to another time frame. And I'm going to use the 400-minute time frame. And I was sarcastic when I said much lower on the skeptical things of cryptocurrencies, because some of these other buy orders are really going to be much lower, like 50% or greater with some of them. But this is more of a short-term scalp that I'm looking at for price action to come down to the 61.8% level from this high to this low and come back to this previous key area, where if I buy there I can unload them somewhere in this previous range. Next up is OmiseGO. And I'm looking at the daily chart. This is another case of the logarithmic charts not being quite right, but 100 is a key level of Fibonacci resistance. 38.2% from that high and low. And when it first arrived at the 100 level, it resisted it well and then broke it, came back and supported it. Again, that did that again. Well, the next key Fibonacci point, well, that's the 15K handle, which is where it's at now. So the rule of thumb in technical analysis is after you have a move from a good decline, and this was a good decline, you have your 38.2% acting with a little bit of resistance like it did, doing its normal things, and then making a move to 61.8% is a play back down to 38.2, the same previous level. So I have a buy order basically a little north of the 100 number. Now, as far as how this chart is playing out, this is incredible as far as what it's showing us. You have this resistance, the support which came back to key fib, and then the rally at the start of the year. What has it done since the rally? It has done this, sideways through time. Meanwhile, it has had a huge, that one's pretty cool shape. I pushed that by accident. But it has had a huge level of resistance in here. So because of such, when it finally does break out above into these levels, you can be pretty sure that you are at least going to get a test of this previous high. And most likely even further gains ahead. Let's move on to the next code. And it'll be code ABY. I'm going to use coinmarketcap.com for this one because of the... I just can't show this on the other site and make it look anywhere near like I want it to look like this one does. It's a line chart, but it does the job. It's a long-term chart. When I see price action from the earlier point of view, everything in here, then I want to see it hold and stay above what looks like a key point when it has a good move. And at the start of the year, that was most certainly a good move. So that key point is pretty obvious. It's in around here. That's where you need to see it hold and stay above within this rally. So when it comes back to this key point, that's not a surprise that it found support there, because that would have been the expected area, especially when you see this pattern showing that if it breaks below the support, that's suggested area, I'd be stating. And well, now price action has been back close to previous high, and it actually did break. I did actually sell some ABY north of 400 actually. It did happen to go there, at least on the Cryptopia exchange. So he's been back to the previous high. I'm looking to be a buyer with this one in at 102. That's my 100. I gave my exact number, which is back down to here. To me, this would fill the perfect gap of these highs and what would be a 61.8% down correction within this move. Breaking above previous resistance, or seeing it hold, stay above 400, would be an indication this thing could probably make its way to not only over 1,000 Satoshi, but probably even over 2,000. And when I'm looking at these codes, I'm going over no fundamental analysis at all. I'm just going on chart patterns as I'm seeing it. And I just don't think that saying that making 150% gain is that's not even, that's below satisfactory. That's poor. If you rate like the A to F system, it's like a D rated gain if that's all it does. So you expect large gains. But within the volatility, they have some decent size moves up and down. I mean, these things could be the point where it can come I did it again, all the way down here and then back up to this point. Let's go on to the next code. And this one is Verge. And if I had the option to short a market, this is probably one I would want to short right now. And it's a linear chart. Unfortunately, I can't show a log one on here. They're unable to calculate the Satoshis under 100, which is where this has been. But we can see a most certain key level of support that it's in with at this point. It had a small pierce below it, and this resistance area matches up close to where support was at the end of last year, start of this year. So where do I think this is going to go? Well, much lower. This is where it came from last year. So the price action got up close to 240. And the resistance level, well, psychological 200. That's where the buy order I have in at. 200, a little north of it. And when we look at this on the coin market cap, that 200 number is right here. Markets usually come back to where they come from. That would be one hefty drop. This is a roller coaster ride. So we're looking at a situation of a rally. And 400, and I got another number, 461. That's key Fibonacci support. It is not at any key areas. But the down signal to me looks real on it. And I think if I do execute this buy, I am going to be doing very, very well. Let's move on to the next one. But before we do, as I stated before, some of these codes are via the webbot. Some are from things that I have seen. Now the rest of them are so low-rated codes. So if you're interested in it, it's at halfpasthuman.com. So the two original buys, again, one is stated at the end of January to do well. And within some of the ones that I've covered, actually one that I didn't, I'm just going to state Neo is one that's stated to do well. I'm not going to say any more details, and I do have a buy order for that. So that's not a low rated one. Let me just go over the Neo chart next. And this is the daily chart. And Webbot is not stating this in the last report to do very well right now, but it is later on. Technically speaking, when you have a situation where you have a big high, a very good correction either through price and or time, and I like the and in there, and there was an and, then you come back to that key level, sort of like Ripple had, you're probably gonna have a good chance of either price correcting and or time correcting. If you don't and you break the resistance, it's going to be probably massive as far as what the gains would set us towards. Now, key Fibonacci levels working at the 4 handle. And when we take a look at how that mark did before in here, it was resistance. And then at the 65 handle, and the 65 handle was in here. So I think it's going to at least come back to that area. So I'm looking to buy below that. Usually when you come back to retracements, whatever the fib numbers are, usually it does more. So a Pierce Extra, that is. So a Pierce Extra on, just looking at my notes again, where does it, 6.5K, I got over the 6 number as where I'm looking to be buying, matching up with this level of resistance. And it could even do a double hit. It could retrace 61 and come down and meet back in with this 4 handle as a possibility. I'd probably look to be buying at both of those situations, however, if that were to continue. Now let's go on to the coins that a lot of people haven't even heard of because they're not that well known and they're low volume in many of these cases. And I want to talk about getting back in the game as a strategy in this and being real. When you look at a chart like this, is there anything that catches your attention that is unlike a lot of the charts that could potentially be very profitable? And the answer is all these sticks higher that have occurred where price action goes way high and you can pretty much buy it back at where it came from at that day, within the day, or at least within the next day on so many situations. I mean, if you want to get technical, I mean, this little situation here, there's just a lot of fun profit in there. It's happened several times. Now, there's a good chance, however, that you could have had something in here sell off. And you might not have got back in the game because it never came back to where it came from. So this has had an interesting change in trading mechanism. If it's going to have a trend go up, that means it's most likely going to keep doing what it's doing and sell off on many occasions and come back. So if you have a situation where you're doing this, you have sell orders ready to go all the time, and you've probably hit about 20 consecutive winners in a row, well, sometimes you're just going to sell it off and it's just going to keep going higher. And if a code like this does it, sometimes you just want to just buy back in and just take the losses on something after you've had like 20 consecutive wins. Now, as far as where I'm looking to be buying this, I have the 10 handle written down. And that would be roughly around here. That would be about a 61.8% break. But also if it breaks this key area, you're looking for a decent leg lower. I don't think, at least as of yet, it's going to be, or even ever, or anytime soon, going to go down to previous low of before 2018. I mean, I suppose it could, but I'd be looking to buy here and then sell here. And this is Unbreakable UNB. I'm looking to buy this at around the 63 handle. Also, these codes, often within the day, do a lot of the same thing they have for a long time now. Let's take a look at this on CoinMarketCap's page instead. And I'm looking mainly to get the higher low in here from this low coming back to this key area in which it came from. Looking at this market even further, and this goes back to 2014, which is why this is fascinating. And the line where it's at now, at the point 0001, it was resistance all through 2015. It was resistance in 2016, and it was resistance in 2017. Therefore, and then I'm looking at this key level of resistance in here. If this little area for the year of 2018 can hold as a level of support, and that could be good for the year 2019. And overall, when it comes down to it, breaking past this level of resistance, whenever the case may be, because I'm looking at a long-term time frame, when it goes, it could be some interesting gains to come into play. But I'm not looking to play for major gains. I'm looking to probably, well, again, buy here, sell portion here, and then look for a good leg higher for another move as well. Next up is Solar, SLR, and this thing had a beautiful rally to start the year of magnificent proportions. Since then, a move to this 18 average, but I don't like how it's performing right now, as the price action came down to the 18 average of lows here, had its pop to this point, and now it looks like it's ready to fall below, make it to what I would consider the next key level, somewhere around here, 7,000. That's a good number, because I realized, taking a look at this chart, that it's an area where it came back to where it would come from. It would be breaking, doing what technical analysis is supposed to. Notice where the line is placed. It's exactly where the November highs happen to reach towards. That it's got to have a decent leg lower. And what it means is this is not a decent leg lower in here. So let's move on to the final chart. And the code is GEO, as it's got the exact same pattern. The beautiful rally. I don't like how it's performing amongst this 18 average, looking to fall below this level of support. It's already retraced 38.2%. If it's going to retrace the next level, which is a 61.8% down move, I have 27,000 and change as the area in which I'm looking for it to come down to. So that's where I'll be looking to be a buyer, and most likely, if I am successful in getting an order fill, I'll look to sell back to this key area in here. Thank you for tuning in. As always, everything you do within your own risk, own reward, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.